General Hospital bombshell, Willow's world shatters in prison with a ghost from her past. In the ever-twisting world of Port Charles, where secrets bury deeper than the quarries and revelations hit harder than a Corinthos fist, Willow Corinthos Tate's life has taken a devastating turn. Locked away in a stark women's correctional facility far from the glamour of the Metro Court, Willow faces not just the cold bars of her cell but the unraveling of everything she thought she knew about her origins. The latest spoilers reveal a jaw-dropping encounter that could redefine her future, a face-to-face meeting with Silas Clay, the man believed to be her biological father, who supposedly died years before she ever set foot in Port Charles. Willow's journey to this moment has been one of quiet endurance. Sentenced for her role in a tangled web of corporate espionage and family betrayals that spiraled out of control during a heated nurses' ball aftermath, she now navigates the harsh realities of prison life. Mornings start with the clang of metal doors and the shuffle of orange jumpsuits, a far cry from the cozy Courtemain mansion where she once built a life with Michael. Her days blur into routines of group therapy sessions, cafeteria meals that taste like regret, and stolen phone calls to her young son Wiley, whose innocent voice is the only light in her confined world. Willow, ever the resilient teacher and mother, clings to hope, dreaming of the day she'll walk free and reclaim her place beside Michael and their blended family. But beneath her composed exterior, questions about her roots have always simmered. Willow arrived in Port Charles as a mysterious young woman, drawn by fate, or perhaps Nina Reeves' long-buried secrets, into the orbit of the powerful Corinthos and Courtemain clans. She never knew her biological father. The stories she'd pieced together from fragmented conversations and adoption papers painted him as a ghost, a brilliant doctor named Silas Clay, gone too soon from a tragic accident before she could even learn his name. No photos, no letters, just whispers that he was a man of intellect and shadows, entangled in medical scandals that ended his life prematurely. Willow had made peace with the void, focusing instead on the family she'd forged, her marriage to Michael, her bond with fierce in-law Carly, and the unbreakable tie to Wiley. Port Charles had become her anchor, its chaos a welcome distraction from the unknown. That fragile peace shatters on a rainy Tuesday afternoon in the prison yard. Willow, seeking a moment of solitude amid the fenced-in expanse of gravel and chain link, sits on a weathered bench, sketching idly in a notebook. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and distant freedom, a mocking reminder of the world beyond. She's lost in thought, replaying Michael's last visit, his promises of legal appeals, his hand pressed against the glass divider, when a shadow falls across her page. She looks up, expecting a fellow inmate or a guard with another mundane directive. Instead, she sees him. Tall, with salt and pepper hair and piercing blue eyes that mirror her own, the man stands just feet away, clad in the same ill-fitting prison garb. His face, lined with the wear of unspoken burdens, holds a familiarity that hits Willow like a thunderclap. Silas, she whispers, the name escaping her lips before her brain catches up. It's impossible. Silas Clay died over a decade ago, his obituary a footnote in medical journals, his body reportedly lost in a fiery car crash on a foggy highway outside Philadelphia. Willow had never met him, never even seen a clear picture, but the resemblance, the sharp jawline, the thoughtful tilt of his head, screams truth. The man doesn't flinch. He steps closer, his voice low and measured, carrying the cadence of a man who spent years in hiding. Willow, he says simply, as if they've shared a lifetime of conversations. Her heart pounds, a mix of terror and exhilaration surging through her veins. Guards patrol the perimeter, oblivious to the seismic shift unfolding in this corner of the yard. Willow's mind races. Is this a hallucination born of isolation? A cruel prank by some vengeful inmate with access to Old Town gossip? Or, impossibly, the man himself, alive, imprisoned, and now face-to-face with the daughter he never knew? What follows is a tense, whispered exchange that crackles with unspoken history. Silas explains in fragments, careful not to draw attention from the watchful eyes of the yard. He's been here for months, transferred under a false identity after years on the run from a conspiracy that faked his death. It wasn't an accident, he admits, his eyes darting to ensure privacy. Powerful people wanted me silenced, pharmaceutical giants I crossed in my research. I had to disappear to protect everything. Willow presses for details, her voice trembling. Why prison now? Why here, in this facility hours from Port Charles? Silas reveals he was captured during a botched attempt to resurface, framed for embezzlement tied to his old life. But the real bombshell, he always knew about her. From afar, through anonymous channels, he'd watched her grow into the woman she is today, a fighter, just like him. As the yard buzzer signals the end of recreation time, Willow feels the ground shift beneath her. This isn't just a reunion, it's a revelation that upends her identity. Silas, her father, isn't a tragic memory but a living enigma, imprisoned alongside her in this fortress of forgotten souls. She demands to know more, about her mother, about the life he left behind, but he cautions her. Walls have ears here, Willow. And out there, in Port Charles, digging too deep could bring danger to your door. The guards call for line-up, forcing them apart, but Silas slips her a small, folded note before they part, coordinates to a secure email drop, a lifeline to continue their story. Back in her cell that night, Willow paces the narrow space, the fluorescent lights buzzing like her thoughts. The encounter replays in her mind, the warmth in his gaze, the subtle scar on his hand that matches a vague description from her adoption file. Sleep evades her as she grapples with the implications. If Silas is alive, what does that mean for her ties to the Reeves family? Nina, who raised her as her own after complicated circumstances, has her own secrets. Could she have known? And Michael, how will he react to this ghost from Willow's past materializing in the most unlikely place? Word of the meeting spreads like wildfire through the prison grapevine, though Willow swears the other inmates to secrecy. Her cellmate, a tough former Quartermain estate manager named Rita, eyes her with newfound curiosity. You sure that guy's who he says? Prisons are full of liars playing dress-up. But Willow knows in her gut it's real. She spends the next few days dodging questions in the mess hall, her appetite gone as she plots her next move. Smuggling a contraband phone, she reaches out to Michael during a rare unsupervised moment. I need you to listen, she says, her voice breaking. Everything's about to change. Meanwhile, across town in Port Charles, the ripples begin. Michael, pacing the Quartermain boathouse with Drew Quartermain, hangs up the call with a furrowed brow. Willow's cryptic words, a man from my past, alive when he shouldn't be, ignite a fire in him. He rallies the family. Carly, ever the strategist, suggests hiring Spinelli for a deep dive into Silas Clay's death. Sonny Corinthos, with his underworld connections, offers to pull strings at the prison for a private visit. Even Nina, sensing the storm, confronts her own guilt over Willow's unknown heritage. The Metro Court buzzes with hushed speculation as the Corinthos Tate clan mobilizes, unaware that Silas's survival ties into larger threats, perhaps a resurgence of the old Cassadine medical experiments or a vendetta from Kiki Jerome's lingering shadows. Days turn into a week of clandestine communications. Willow and Silas meet again in the prison library, under the guise of book club discussions. Hidden behind stacks of dog-eared novels, they piece together a plan. Silas shares glimpses of his expertise, a hematologist whose groundbreaking work on blood disorders threatened big pharma profits. You have my mind for puzzles, Willow, he says, watching her analyze a smuggled newspaper clipping about his crash. She learns he orchestrated his disappearance to shield a young family he left behind, including a half-sister she never knew existed, now living quietly in Europe. The bond forms quickly, forged in the fire of shared confinement. Willow teaches him yoga breathing to ease his chronic pain from old injuries. He counsels her on enduring the system's injustices, drawing from his own wrongful incarceration. But danger lurks. A shiv hidden in Silas's bunk suggests enemies have followed him here, perhaps hitmen disguised as inmates, sent to finish what the fake accident started. During a heated lockdown after a cafeteria brawl, Willow shields him from a suspicious attack, earning bruises but solidifying their alliance. You're my daughter, Silas confesses in the infirmary, gripping her hand. I never stopped watching over you, even from the shadows. Tears flow as Willow absorbs the weight, a father not lost to death, but to choices made in desperation. As appeals hearings loom, Willow's legal team, bolstered by Diane Miller's fierce advocacy, uncovers discrepancies in Silas's records. The prison walls feel thinner now, the outside world pressing in. Michael's visit arrives like a lifeline, his presence through the glass a reminder of love's endurance. Whoever he is, we'll face it together, he vows, learning the truth in a rushed whisper. Back in Port Charles, the plot thickens. A mysterious package arrives at the Quartermain estate, containing Silas's old research notes, clues to a cure that could save lives, but at the cost of exposing deadly secrets. In this pulse-pounding chapter of General Hospital, Willow's prison stint transforms from punishment to revelation. The unexpected meeting with Silas Clay isn't just a family reunion, it's a catalyst for upheaval, blending heartbreak, hope, and high-stakes intrigue. As Willow stares out her cell window at the stars over Port Charles, she wonders, will this ghost from her past free her, or drag her deeper into the shadows? Fans, brace yourselves, these spoilers hint at alliances forged in iron bars and betrayals that could echo through the town for months to come. Next, we will learn about the explosive family tensions brewing in Port Charles as Drew Kane's harsh decisions regarding Danny push Jason Morgan to the brink of an all-out confrontation. In the shadowy undercurrents of General Hospital's latest twists, Drew Kane has long been a thorn in Jason Morgan's side, but his latest maneuver crosses a sacred line by isolating Danny from his beloved little sister, Scout Quartermaine. Jason, the stoic enforcer who's weathered countless storms in Port Charles, has mastered the art of tuning out Drew's provocations, whether it's business rivalries at Aurora Media or lingering resentments from their clone pasts that still haunt their brotherly bond. Yet, when it comes to his son Danny, Jason's protective instincts ignite like a fuse in a powder keg. This isn't just sibling rivalry, it's a deliberate strike at the heart of Jason's world, where family loyalty trumps all. Fans recall how Jason has always prioritized Danny's emotional well-being, from shielding him during the Cassadine family upheavals to navigating the boy's grief over his mother's absence. Drew's cold calculation here seems aimed at leveraging that vulnerability, turning a simple sibling visit into a weaponized barrier that could fracture the Quartermaine-Kane dynamic forever. The root of this brewing storm lies in the restraining order saga, where Drew digs in his heels, refusing to allow Jason anywhere near Scout during what should be innocent playtime at the Quartermaine mansion. Picture the scene: Danny, with his wide-eyed innocence and budding sense of justice, eagerly packing a backpack full of comic books and snacks, only to be turned away at the door by a stern-faced nanny citing legal papers. This isn't mere oversight, it's a pointed exclusion that leaves Danny bewildered and heartbroken, questioning why his Uncle Jason can't join the fun. Drew's insistence stems from deeper grudges, perhaps amplified by recent boardroom battles where Jason's influence swayed key votes against Drew's expansion plans for ELQ Industries. Insiders whisper that Drew views this as payback for Jason's meddling in his political aspirations, but at what cost? The order not only bars Jason but ripples out to limit Danny's access, forcing the young boy to watch from afar as Scout's laughter echoes without him. This move echoes past Kane-Morgan clashes, like the infamous island survival ordeal that forged their uneasy truce, but now it's weaponized against the next generation, risking a cycle of resentment that could poison Port Charles's elite circles for years. Enter Alexis Davis, the sharp-witted lawyer whose negotiation skills are put to the test in a tense closed-door meeting at the Davis household, surrounded by stacks of legal briefs and half-empty coffee mugs. Alexis, ever the advocate for family unity, pushes hard for a compromise, arguing that siblings like Scout and Danny deserve unbreakable bonds amid the chaos of their parents' dramas. Think of the emotional toll from Franco's shadow or the Helena Cassadine manipulations that still linger. Drew, however, remains unyielding on Jason's involvement, his jaw set like granite as he counters with concerns over instability from Jason's rumored ties to Sonny Corintho's underworld dealings. In a creative twist, Alexis cleverly invokes shared custody precedents from past Port Charles cases, like the Falconeri family's custody battles, to carve out concessions. Ultimately, she secures visitation rights for herself, alongside Molly Lansing Davis with her nurturing touch, Christina Corinthos Davis bringing her fiery optimism, and even young Rocco Falconeri, whose playful energy could bridge the gap for Scout. But this partial victory feels hollow. Danny, eavesdropping from the hallway, overhears the terms and his face crumples, realizing he's the lone outlier in this exclusionary pact. The deal, inked with reluctant signatures, underscores Drew's strategic maneuvering, but it also sows seeds of isolation that could backfire spectacularly in the courtroom of public opinion. For Danny, the fallout is profoundly personal, transforming a routine sibling outing into a symbol of fractured family ties that no amount of video calls can mend. Imagine Danny confiding in his best friend at Kelly's diner, his voice cracking as he describes missing Scout's birthday last month, the cake, the games, the way she clings to his hand during thunderstorms. This enforced separation amplifies Danny's insecurities, rooted in his unique family tree where Jason's absences due to work have already left scars. He's not just angry, he's devising quiet rebellions, like sketching maps of the Quartermaine estate in his notebook, dreaming of a secret rendezvous. The news hits like a gut punch when Danny pieces together the negotiation details from overheard snippets, fueling a resentment toward Drew that mirrors Jason's own. In this heightened drama, Danny's isolation could catalyze growth, teaching him resilience amid Port Charles's relentless intrigue, but at the expense of his childhood innocence. Supporters in the fan community draw parallels to similar youth storylines, like T.J. Ashford's struggles, predicting Danny's arc will explore themes of loyalty and defiance in unexpected ways. Jason's response promises to be volcanic, his usually composed demeanor cracking as he absorbs Danny's quiet tears during a heartfelt father-son talk on the waterfront docks, where the lapping waves mirror the turmoil within. Jason, haunted by his own losses, from Robin's presumed death to the endless betrayals, sees red at Drew's ploy, recognizing it as a blatant attempt to manipulate through his son. He might storm into Drew's sleek office at Aurora, slamming the door with a force that rattles the award plaques, his voice low and lethal as he recounts the warning issued months ago, "Stay away from my kid, or you'll regret it." This confrontation could unfold in layers, starting with verbal barbs about their shared DNA and escalating to physical standoffs near the Metro Court, drawing in bystanders like Sam McCall, who's torn between her exes. Jason's fury isn't impulsive, it's a calculated unleashing, bolstered by advice from trusted allies like Spinelli, who uncovers digital trails of Drew's legal maneuvers. As the scenes heat up, viewers can anticipate pulse-pounding dialogue that dissects their brotherhood, forged in secrecy, tested by amnesia, and now threatened by pettiness, potentially leading to alliances shifting across Port Charles's power players. Drew, meanwhile, juggles this powder keg with his high-stakes crusade to free Willow Tate from Pentonville's grim confines, where whispers of corruption and hidden agendas swirl like fog over the harbor. Willow's imprisonment, tied to a web of medical malpractice claims involving Terry Randolph and the latest nurses' ball fallout, demands Drew's full attention, late-night strategy sessions with Diane Miller and covert visits that risk his reputation. Yet, in true soap fashion, he carves out time for the Jason feud, perhaps viewing it as a necessary distraction to vent frustrations from Willow's stalled appeal. Inventive plot threads suggest Drew enlisting Ned Quartermain's business savvy to fortify his position, while grappling with guilt over how his actions affect Scout's worldview. This dual-track narrative enriches Drew's character, portraying him not as an outright villain but a flawed protector, whose paranoia stems from Valentine Cassidy's lingering threats. As episodes unfold, Drew's plate overflows, hinting at burnout that could force a reckoning, where his cold tactics thaw under the weight of familial backlash. Looking ahead, ABC General Hospital spoilers tease that Danny's desperation might propel him into bold, unforeseen territory if the barriers persist, challenging the adult's control in dramatic fashion. Envision Danny teaming up with resourceful pals like Wiley, using gadgets from Max Scorpio's precinct to stage a covert meetup, or even appealing directly to Monica Quartermain for intervention. This youthful initiative could spark a chain reaction, exposing cracks in the restraining order and forcing Drew to reconsider his stance amid mounting pressure from the Corinthos clan. With stakes this high, Port Charles braces for fallout that intertwines custody woes with broader mysteries, like the shadowy figures circling ELQ. Stay tuned as these brotherly wars intensify, delivering the emotional depth and cliffhangers that keep General Hospital's legacy alive.